Tainted Treasure Orcust pile. What in the world is the OCG cooking up? Well, let's dive into the minds of these players. You guys smash the living crap out of that subscribe button so you guys don't miss out on more awesome content. Starting off here with the Taiyo Championship, and actually they're up to 200 of these. Now, the Taiyo Championship has been a pretty big stay in terms of the OCG data and getting the chance to kind of see how they've been performing out here. And this is actually a pretty decent breakdown here. I mean, we had Purely coming in first place. I'm not surprised. See, the cat toolbox has been doing its thing. And then we have the Horus Orcust Sin Treasure pile. And when we get the chance to take a look at this list, I do want to say that the OCG has been doing some crazy things out here with some of the innovation lines that they've been putting on the table here for this. We also have Rescue Ace. I'm not surprised. Rescue Ace has been an incredibly long mainstay here. And we're going to get a chance to take a look at some more Labyrinth innovations out here. At this point in time, Labyrinth has just continued to evolve at such a quick rate. It's very interesting. All right, let's pass on over to those deck lists, shall we? It would appear that winning our event is, in fact, the Cat in the Hat. Must be nice to be able to use triple Purely Leap and actually be able to maximize on it. Now, one interesting thing that I do see that we are playing here is a copy of Solemn Scolding down in the side deck. Now, technically, Scolding, I mean, it can only be the only face-down card that you control when you basically use it, but it is a free negate at the end of the day for maybe a cost of 3,000 life points. But I do find that that's an interesting tech choice that I haven't really seen return back to the lines of play. I mean, you're probably going to go ahead and Purely Leap, and then you're going to try to hold the Scolding as a power negate to make sure that you can play through and do whatever you want. Not too bad. Also, of course, SP Little Knight getting a huge amount of playtime in this deck as well. I mean, being able to replace Azalea for something more generic, actually, for a way better card, I think has been a very nice send here. But yeah, the Cat in the Hat deck doing fantastic out here. Now we have this. This is the Orcust pile, and to people that are like, hey, can we bring Simple Skeleton, or excuse me, Harp Horror back at this point in time? I really want this card back. It'd be fun. Well, they're using the Tainted Treasure archetype engine here for like the trap interaction, which is kind of interesting. But we're just trying to have access to very huge monsters. I mean, we are playing a Horus package in here of 3 monsters, but it's also, the Horus package gives you access to discard fodder, which then lets you dump all of your bad Orcust cards out of your hand so that you can go ahead and combo line up. I haven't actually seen a toolbox deck like this show up in the OCG, and I think this is another good example as to why, our good friend Harp Horror out here might exactly be a little bit more broken than I think people might actually remember. Hey, you never know. If we could get Harp Horror back, you might be able to see some cool things like this peek through in the OC or in the TCG. Alright, next up is our Rescue Ace deck, and of course, they're doing the Auroradon shenanigans. This is why, I've kind of become bored of looking at this deck in the OCG, because it's become a combo clutch for Auroradon. And I'm not a super big fan of that. I like the more control-y version of things, but to be fair, they want to be able to get to the Synchro lines. I mean, having access to a Borreload Savage at the end of your combo for some level of negates is actually pretty good, and I like that a lot. I mean, also Dawn Dragster, access to the Herald. When you can turn all of the free Rescue Ace chicken nuggies into some sort of extra value, I think that's pretty good at the end of the day. I see that we're also citing Red Reboot down there. Red Reboot is such a clutch card for the OCG. They love being able to flip that card, blow out the opponent, and the opponent's like, what am I supposed to do against this? Unfortunately, the answer is not a lot, and that's a pretty big problem at the end of the day. And then our last list out of this tournament is actually Transaction Rollback deck. Hey, you know something really awkward about this main deck? They're not playing the new Labyrinth monster, the set and activate the trap card during turn 1 of the game. No, it's not present. Labyrinth has kind of been having a little bit of a dial back as of late, but they're using way more of the cuckoo clock plays here than really, I mean, the whole extension package is just seeing a lot more play. It's very interesting to see how this build is trying to extend out and, play less reliant on the traps. You've also got the Eradicator Epidemic Virus down there, but you can definitely see the differences in mentalities between the TCG and the OCG with this list. And shout out to Pot of Extravagance here. maximizing those numbers so you can make sure that you can get the free draw power that you're definitely going to need to make sure that you can capitalize and play the game. Now we're going to pass on over to the to the second 7-star cup. The reason why we're looking at the second star, or the second 7-star cup here, I'll get the name right eventually here, was this event was actually won by Tier Elements. It was won by Cashed Era. Sorry, I saw the Tier Elements Cashed Era and I was like, yeah. So the thing with this is, Unicorn is at like 1, and like Fenrir has been devastated off the face of the planet into Banville. So how in the world is this deck actually functioning? Well, I'll answer that here in a second. We had double Rescue Ace Duelist carrying it on home here as well. Man, oh man, for Cashed Hero to not only win the event, had to play through double Rescue Ace as well. That's very, very interesting at the end of the day, just to see, that difference in power kind of coming together here. And our last deck was actually Unchained. I did want to take a look at some of the more modern era Unchained innovations that the OCG has kind of been finding themselves with here. Let's pass on over to deck list. Winning our event here is actually, once again, Cashed Era. Let's give it up, everybody. 1 Unicorn, 0 Fenrir. They did it. They still have triple Rise Heart, so all you got to do is somehow get all of the monsters on the field and then get things going. I see we're also main decking 1 copy Skildren. We are playing Necro Valley. The OCG build of this deck definitely went more towards the Necro Valley side of things. They needed ways to kind of slow down the opponent, and Necro Valley is a fantastic way to do it, especially since, Tier is still kind of running around out here. And then, of course, hi Skildrain. Hello Macrocosmo. Hello there, Can Only Be One. Hi Floodgates. How are you guys? The fact that all these floodgates are present in this deck is going to be a huge defining factor out here for this deck. So incredibly cool to actually see that, hey, this deck is performing. It has done very, very well in this tournament. I think that for a rogue choice, this actually kind of breaks the mold of expectation out here. Next up here is our Rescue Ace deck. Once again, we are playing the Synchro combo. The poor control variant has been getting flooded out. Yeah, terrible pun, I know, but the Diabellstar package has pretty much guaranteed this deck's consistency. Now, I've been noticing there's only been like 1 Diabellstar being present in these builds. I think some of the earlier builds were trying to push 2, but if you're going to try to mix things up, I actually don't think that that's a terrible method of doing it. The fact that you can play the package kind of on like the bare minimum, unfortunately, 3 Hydrant has become more irrelevant at this stage, unfortunately. I do hate to say that, because there was a time where, you were seeing 2 Hydrants. You could shave off a little bit of money if you were planning on trying to play that package post, the deck for the pure build. But, yeah, you're not going to be able to play this come TCG because, we don't have a Rorodon, but the TCG continues to absolutely love the crazy combo lines that they can fit into these decks. Next up is Unchained here. I don't know what I was expecting with this, but this looks pretty standard. I don't think the TCG has really stuck around on the tour guide side of things, which is very interesting, by the way, because, tour guide into the Sangan or into the Fiendish Rhino, and then, that gets you an auto, Unchained Link monster, which is actually pretty gosh darn good at the end of the day. When you can turn your normal summon into the Unchained Link and then, start combo, or, Teehee, Sangan, get my search for a Veiler for the next turn, or something more defensive along those lines. It's not exactly good. It depends on how much follow-up and advantage you can kind of swing in your favor here, but see, we're also main decking a copy of Skill Drain for more defensive options. But, alright, not too bad in terms of deck build. I see we are playing the Deus Ex Machina in here as well. It is kind of interesting to see that, we can have a stepping stone over the big old Kaiser monster. So, okay, don't really see that all that often. And then, of course, we have our other Rescue Ace list. Finally! Somebody gutted out the Synchro stuff and is playing the deck the way I like to see it. The control variant. Oh, wait, Scythe is down in the side deck. Man, we were so close to getting something cool. Now, the main deck of this, still fine. I love how we're doing this. 1 Diabellstar Witch, 2 Hydrant, pretty much backing up the number on that post, Diabellstar, getting the ability to toggle for all that. Play the 1 cross out for the defensive approach. This actually looks pretty good. I like this. This is what I like to see in terms of variation out here. So that is our double feature wrap up here for these events. And let me tell you, you know, the defining differences in the OCG, it is cool to see, like, these decks, you know, be successful. That's what makes their format, you know, fun to look at. So please, leave a comment down below, tell me what you guys think, and I'll see your beautiful faces back here later today, guys. Peace out. Patrons, thank you.
Thank you so much for watching. Check out these other videos.